Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I gotta say, the Blues won the Stanley Cup last night. Woohoo! Sorry, Boston fans. This has been a long time coming for St. Louis, though. First time they've ever won a Stanley Cup, so that's really exciting. Miraculously stayed up and watched the whole dang thing go down. Also, I've got to tell you guys, I meant to put this in an earlier video, but I kind of forgot I had it. I was eating pizza last weekend at a place called Pizano's in downtown Chicago. Because I was up there for that conference with Bub, and we met our friend Nate out for pizza, and this is the place he loves the most, but even he has never experienced this waiter known as the Chach. And this is the type of guy who's gonna come by your table and he's gonna, he's part waiter, part motivational speaker. By the end of that evening, we knew all about him. He knew all about the three of us. And y'all, when he found out I was on YouTube, he wanted to give a huge message to you. So this is the Chach. He has been, if you look him up, you will find articles about him saying best waiter in Chicago. Seriously, he's had a lot of accolades, but this is what he had to say.
Folks, let me tell you, my name is Joe Chacho, and they call me the Chach. And I'm here working at Pizano's, where I've been for a while now. And I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I met Emily from Beauty Broadcast on YouTube, and I tell you right now, anybody that listens to her is gonna be very, very smart, because she's got all the brains. You think you're beautiful now? Forget about it. When you're done being Emily's, see, when they come here to get chachified, you're gonna get Emily's, baby, right by Beauty from Emily. Woo! So I tell you right now, you watch this program, because she's got a heart of gold. So I tell you what, you ever come to Chicago, you come by Pizano's. We'll give you one of the finest pizzas in the nation, and it's been a privilege and an honor, folks. So God bless you and all your families and friends, and may the good Lord look over you and keep you safe.
That was amazing!
Chachified. No,
see, you're gonna Emily's them now, baby. Emily's, baby.
You gave me a new phrase.
That's it, baby.
Yes.
Just been Emily's, baby.
Woo.
That's it, baby.
Are you pumped up? That man is like a cup of coffee personified, you know? Amazing. We're gonna dive into this Huda Beauty review now. What's my timeline with trying Huda stuff? Well, I've used a couple of her palettes, and it's taken me a lot longer, I feel like, to get into the complexion stuff. My gateway into it that caused me to get really interested was actually her cream contour. I had first tried that maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago, and I was really impressed. And then I see these neon palettes come out, and I'm like, well, you know, maybe I should try. These were very tempting to me, even though they're not world's most practical palette by any means. They drew me in, and then I thought, well, what about her foundation and powder concealer and the whole coverage process from this line? I just started getting real curious, and bottom line, I've now been testing the neon palettes and also her foundation, concealer, powder, along with that contour product, and it's gonna be kind of a full face. I mean, with a few things subbed in where I need to. So here we go. I've got the Faux Filter foundation, or it's the hashtag Faux Filter, high coverage cream foundation in custard. And this has been recommended to me along the way. I feel like I just am generally in a state where I've got several foundations I'm working with or trying. And yeah, this has been out for a while, and I'm only just recently giving it a shot. So I have had really good luck with this stuff. I think this looks beautiful on the skin. The coverage is amazing. I feel kind of let down about the whole IT Cosmetics confidence in a foundation, because that stuff, you know, I talked about it as a favorite, and lo and behold, that thing has been discontinued. That's about the quickest discontinuation of a product that I've seen happen. You know, foundations don't tend to be a limited edition run, and that it didn't even seem to be out that long, you know? So that stuff's gone, and this would be another thing I would put in the category of special occasion foundation. It makes my skin look so good. So how much do I use? I feel like a full pump of this pumps out actually quite a lot, so I will do maybe just over half a pump for my whole face. We're talking smaller than a pea-sized amount here. And I'm all about if you can minimize the amount of product you're putting on but still get great coverage, do your thing with it, you know? That's what keeps the wear of your foundation more fresh and even all day. Love blending it in with my beauty blender, so that's what I'm gonna do, freshly clean beauty blender. And I just tap this in all over, and I feel like the coverage is wonderful. Now, did you guys notice when I hopped on here that I do have a little staining on my eyelids from my Neons palette? I didn't notice this with the pink palette, but yesterday I was using the orange, including probably the brightest slash deepest, that doesn't make sense, one of the most intense shades in the palette on my outer corner. I'll give it credit, it did last all day. The entire look was super fresh on my eyes the entire day. but it stained me a little. And then that faded when I tried to remove it with a more pinpointed like eye makeup remover beyond just my Equate Daily Facials. Look at this coverage we're establishing here. I am so happy with this. And I feel like the skin still has some sort of a finish to it that doesn't look too totally blah. I really think this foundation is beautiful, and it wears so nicely on me all day. And then I've got this Overachiever concealer, and I got this in the shade Meringue 04N. I wanted it to be a pretty light shade, and I will tell you, the thing about this shade in contrast with my skin, I am noticing like I've got a little bit of melasma coming through now. And I thought a true test of the coverage of this would be, can I get a nice, really light, really brightening shade for my under eye? And will it still be able to have enough coverage to cover up my problem areas? Because you know, if you've had to deal with discoloration and darkness on your skin and trying to adjust that with your concealer, if you go too light with your concealer, you will merely lighten the problem. And you need to go in with a corrector, or you need to find just the most proper shade of concealer to basically match you and camouflage the issue. Well, this concealer, I tell you what, it's gonna brighten me. I like that it's got this kind of like little cooling tip if you wanna apply it with that, but I find it a little easier to just get a little bit out there on my finger. And the consistency is not all that thick. I feel like it's maybe a little creamier than a lot of different concealers that you're gonna pull right out of the doe foot applicator, you know? And what I'm doing is I'm just getting a little broader amount of surface area covered with this because I'm smushing it between my fingers. That's why that doesn't look like tiny dots. But then maybe I wanna brighten down the nose a little, whatever's left, you know, just get it around. But I'll tell you what, this covers and brightens kind of all in one step for me. It can go out over this area where I've had darkness and just look full on bright. So if you're kind of my skin tone and you like that really light and brightened under eye, this might be a shade that ends up working for you well. I feel like these days, maybe it's just because of the fact that that foundation is not really brand new on the market at this point. I don't hear a ton of people talking about that, but I feel like I hear even fewer people talking about this concealer. And it is really phenomenal coverage, I must say. I have not even yet tried applying this concealer with anything but the Beauty Blender. I just kind of love the way that carries it across the skin. But you know the trouble zone here, if we're talking melasma, and it just really brightened me across that whole plane of the skin. And I would say the texture it leaves is not really super tacky at all. It's not like crazy dry, but it's definitely like a matte finish concealer, I would say. So, cue the next product I got. I got the setting powder. This is called Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder, and I got the shade Cupcake. I think this might have been like the second shade in the lineup, and it was sort of defined as a pinky tone translucent powder. So again, with the desire to go for a really brightened up look, I got this, and it's got this little stopper cap right here, and then the format of this powder is such that there's the little netting. Not sure if you can see that, but that's instead of just a traditional sifter. I have baked with this a few times, and it's really hard to match the flawlessness I get when I do that. Like, it's so even. The end result is such a doll skin kind of look, but I gotta be completely real. By the end of the day, I do think my under eyes look a little drier than they have to after I've used that method. I think for ultimate, like, all day, we're talking from 5 in the morning to like 10 at night freshness, just a light bit of powder applied lightly with a brush if you really feel you need it on the under eye and T-zone will, I think, enhance staying power, but not make me too dry. But short-term wear, if I bake, I'm gonna have like this next level great looking skin for like half the day. So anyway, I'm gonna do that because I wanna show you the method. It is called Easy Bake. So I'm gonna do this, basically dipping my Beauty Blender into this powder right onto that little mesh area, and I'm gonna apply it here to my under eye. And I am one who, with the under eye area, like, I don't have a ton of texture or deep wrinkles, but I have some fine lines, and those will be the little lines that give away dryness to the skin. And there's really no two ways about it. Baking can kind of dry out your skin. And an alternate method, like I said, would be just applying your powder very lightly with like an e.l.f. small tapered brush to those kinds of areas. But it's kind of crazy how good this does make the skin look, I've got to tell you. So we're gonna leave that on there, and I'm gonna do brows. And for the sake of time, I think I'm just gonna do them off camera. I don't have a Huda product for that. I'm just gonna use my Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in medium brown, and then I'll be back. Hello, brows are on, and now I'm just gonna take, this is my e.l.f. small tapered brush, and I'm dusting away the bake here so you can see that finished result, and we can move on with some other face steps. But like I said, in the short term, for a shorter amount of time, like part of the day, I feel like I still have a fresh look on my under eye, a really smooth, even look after baking. I just think once I start getting into the latter part of the day, start looking up close, that's where I see more evidence of dryness as a result of that method. But I did want to show you just how nice I feel like my skin looks now. Only a pound of makeup on, no big deal. Okay, next thing I'm going to use is this Tantour. And no, I am not going to apply any other powder elsewhere on my face outside of the baked area because I just don't feel like I need it. I mean, everything feels smooth. Nothing's really tacky at this point, so we're just gonna go with this. So this Tantour Contour and Bronzer Cream, I have it in the shade Light, and this was kind of the thing really that impressed me quite a bit and got me really interested in trying more from this line. So there's this little sub cap, but it's not like a real, I don't know, airtight seeming cap. I'm not sure if I need to keep that in there or not, but I just go straight into my cream with this Moda contour brush. It's kind of like the overall fullness of the e.l.f. small tapered brush, but there's a little more surface area right at the tip, whereas this one gets a bit more pointed toward the tip. And I really like the size for this kind of job. And I also feel like my, what's it called? Sephora Pro Mini Flawless Airbrush would handle this kind of step really well also. There are probably also multiple brushes from Real Techniques that you would like for this sort of a step, but I kind of let it just work up into my hairline, and I feel like this tone looks really, really good and natural. And blending wise, like so easy. I mean, I've used so many cream products that I just feel like I have to fuss with a lot, and I just don't with this, so that's cool. Dipping in a little bit more. And we're gonna hit this area right here. So you can see I've definitely laid down some product. I've got something to blend out, but then buffing, little circular motions here, trying to not let that drop down too low, but ultimately like a really effective contour, I feel like. During pregnancy, you know, your face kind of fills out a little more. You got a little extra, maybe a little extra peeking in under that chin. Hey, do some contour and go for it. So again, just kind of streak it on and then buff it out. Circular motions, everything's cool. I do feel like this brush is kind of the perfect size though, because if it were a lot bigger, I think it would drag product where it didn't need to go. And if it were a lot smaller, it might take me longer, you know, to get everything how I want it, or I might pick up a little too much product too densely. And the thing is, the pressure I'm applying is so light, and that's so important. What does your cream product require of you? Because you are going on top of foundation covered skin, and the more pressure you apply, the more you're disrupting your foundation basically. So here I am honestly just like really not pressing hard. I'm just pressing hard enough to blend out the areas I need to blend, and I'm good. And I really like the tone and just the overall effect. Now, I guess I haven't dug deep enough, but does Huda have any products outside of what's being sold on Sephora's website? Like, is she hiding some blushes somewhere? I don't know where to find them because I don't have any blushes. So I think I'm just gonna go to Cotton Candy Champagne here from Beauty Bakery. I'm feeling the 24-hour champagne diet again. I think I was wearing this in my last video too, but provides a little glow to the cheeks that's really honestly not over the top by the time you get that color buffed out. It's a really nicely just flat out pigmented shade, but there's a little glow in there. The glowiest blush out of all of these is probably actually the light pink, just because it's kind of the lightest and brightest. That's what I notice anyway. Okay, so just getting that nice and blended out. And then I'm gonna use another Beauty Bakery here, my Milk and Honey palette for the highlight. Now I do know Huda has some highlighting palettes. I'm not sure why I didn't spring for one of those, but one thing I did do actually, the first day I was playing with the pink palette, I used this color up here as blush, and you know, it works. I'm gonna use the shade Spoiler Alert down here. And I love having this full coverage, super even skin. And then you pop on a highlight that just makes you look a little bit dewy, and then you have kind of unbelievable skin, right? Got all that coverage, but yet it still looks fresh. Just gentle dabs into the product. Not a big flaky highlight that generates a lot of fallout. This palette's pretty new to me, by the way. And the only shade I haven't used is this one right here, this bronzy color. If there's anything else on the brush, you know, maybe give it a little forehead, but I could not be more pleased with how the skin's looking right now. So we'll set that. I'm using my Farsali Rose Gold Skin Mist because frankly, I'd like to see me use this stuff up. Like, I'm enjoying it and I don't really want to see it go away, but yet, like, I'm on my way to using it up. There's something satisfying about using up a product, what can we say? But talk about a satisfied customer here. And no, this is not sponsored. I don't do sponsored videos, but like, look up close. I'm so happy with the way my skin looks. Now I'm taking my Milani eyeshadow primer and just getting that all over both lids. Now the neon palettes, I actually got all three, but the green one came very broken, multiple shades broken. It's like, what happened to that one palette? Because everything else in my box was great, but I'm gonna need customer service to help me out with that one, which will no doubt take some time, so we're just gonna focus in on the ones that I have used and know about. So I've got the pink, and I think what held me off and made me consider not buying these was the fact that there didn't seem to be a lot of contrast in this palette like her regular Obsessions would have. I have a mauve Obsessions, and then I've got a lot of like dupe type palettes from Bad Habit right around this size and theme. And the thing about those is that they'll have some highly shimmery, metallic, like different textures, but there's a great variation of light to dark. And then these are like all about the bright. So if you want real contrast, you're gonna have to bring in something else. But at the same time, you've got some really, really highly shimmery shades that honestly aren't that impressive when picked up just dry by your brush. So there are several methods I've used to apply those. You can get some product on your brush and then give it a couple mists of like a Fix Plus and apply it wet, and that will give you more intensity. Or you could use a glitter glue base, or even just some kind of cream base. Probably my favorite eyeshadow product that Huda has is this new nude palette, and this one actually comes with a cream base down here, and I always found that very helpful for a lot of these shades. I would probably go in with glitter glue for your actual glitters, but for just a general shimmery look, it really benefited these shimmers so much to have that immediate cream base to go on top of. So you kind of got to decide for yourself, how do I like to handle those highly shimmery shades? I wouldn't say I dislike this palette, but I do not feel like the pink is as versatile as the orange one. The pink, I mean, yeah, we've got our pinks, we've got peachy pinks, a cooler pink, shimmers, and then some purples. And that's all good and all, but we come over here to my orange palette, and here I just feel like things are getting a bit more out of the box. We've got this like really super bright, like yellowish green. We've got a true yellow here. In this sort of diagonal zone, some really pure mattes, and then a couple more shimmers right up here. And I'll show you the look I did with that. I really like did a big pop of this color that I thought was so pretty. Like, these are fun palettes to play with, but again, nothing's getting really dark in here, which I think was the intention, to keep it a bright, light neon palette. And what was the method? Oh, I used glitter glue actually as my primer yesterday when I did that, and it clung really well. So the method of application was I did like my matte crease colors and built all that up, and then when it was time for the lid, I just dabbed glitter glue primer all over this portion, and I thought it grabbed everything better. And then of course another thing you could do is just mist your brush if you don't have that glitter glue primer, and applying them wet does help. So today I would like to do an all matte vibe here with this palette. I think I'm going to start with this orangey shade in my crease, and the shade that I think was the culprit for a little staining for me was actually this color. I applied that pretty full on yesterday in my outer corner area. It wore amazingly. The entire look, it looked as fresh at night as it did when I first put it on. So that was impressive, but I had to do a little extra work on removal. So I'd love to know, now that these palettes have been out for a while, like, did you get one? Which one are you most attracted to? What can you tell me about the greens? What do I have up here? I feel like I've got like a little unblended eye primer or something that I just found right up here. That's nice. The other Huda palette I have is what's it called? Is it Desert Dusk? It's not her rose gold. I have like a dupe version of that. But I have the one that's got like a lot of purples and like some kind of orangey warm splashes in it. And it's really beautiful. I think she's got some nice quality shadows. I just think you either know if you're the type of person who wants to fuss with additional methods needed, you know, for the application of some of her shimmers to make them really look their best. They require a little extra attention. Now I'm going to go to this shade up here. It's a really bright, kind of rich coral. It's crazy as I hold that up to the camera, just how bright these shades really are. I'm going to lunch with my girl Mary Ellen, and she's going to be like, wow, your eyes, the brightness. But that even kicked up my outer corner more. And then I would really like to see this yellow in action. So I'm going to use that kind of around my inner part here. Oh, that is a really strong yellow, guys. Hadn't used that yet till just now. And this is just topping my Milani eyeshadow primer. So mattes are kind of like, yeah, we can be cool for you. We can be low maintenance. Like, that is so bold. That's just not a color I often end up working in, as you guys know. And then I really want to see this shade, even though I know it's so intense. This hot pink kind of berry neon. I had so much on my brush, too much, so I'll let a little come over here before I get all blended. Look at how that's developing an orange look as we overlap with the yellow. How fun. Probably need just a tinge more over here to balance out that brightness. All I can say is my friend David's gonna be proud of me, I think. There's nothing that I've particularly applied to this E25. I'm just kind of trying to help that bright pink work itself up to the crease more. And I'm tempted to go over part of my lid with some shimmer, but at the same time, the pure color of this matte look is just really nice. What I may do is just go in with a little extra yellow to again help the blend from that direction now. But as you can see in this palette, what did I do? I applied the deepest color available to my outer corner, and I'm this bright. So you don't have a lot of toned down options. If you're using these palettes and these palettes alone, you will be bright. Then I think I'll take my smudge brush. We'll go to this sort of hot pink berry neon, and I'll just let a little bit of this come down to the lower lash line. And I've got an idea. Maybe I could do a little shimmer down there. Like we take this orange shimmery shade. I'm not sure if this brush is going to be big enough to pull it off. And then spritz that with a little Fix Plus. Apply that down here to my lower lash line. As sort of like the one bit of shimmer. It's not standing out, I think, as fully as it would be if it were on the lid, obviously, and could be over a little bigger surface area. But hey, it's a little interesting. I'm trying here. Next, we're going to brighten our lower waterline with a little Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Highlight here. So much pink going on. This will help, I think. And then I'm going to take my Too Faced waterproof liner pen here and just go all across the upper lash line. Try to be really clean about it since we've got this nice matte eye. It's going to be really visible where the liner, you know, ends and begins. So we got a strong black wing happening now with this look. Guys, I think my next move, I'm gonna pop on some false lashes and mascara, and then we're gonna do the lips. Okay, gang, here's where we're at. I've got my lashes on. These are my Cocoa lashes in the style called Soho, a very full lash, kind of a go-to glam lash for me. But that did make me remember that I think that actually the first Huda product I used was maybe a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, the Samantha lashes from her line, which I really do like. They're great for establishing kind of a natural looking thickness at the lash line, but then they're nice and wispy going out. They're a really pretty lash. But gosh, this eye look, it's fun, isn't it? I kind of took this palette in my style. You know what I mean? The colors are bright, but I applied it in a manner that feels right to me, I guess. Now, one thing I did do after getting the lashes on and you kind of get a little better picture of what your overall look is, I took took my wispy white, just a really small little blending brush here. I went between the orange and the peach and just gently went right up in this zone with those, just to bring my color up a little higher, kind of giving my lashes even more of a warm, colorful backdrop there. So now for lips. Tell me what you've tried from Huda's line as far as lip products. What do you like? Because I was kind of thinking as I placed my order, like if I do a Huda look, oh, I've got that little set here. This is the one that comes with Bombshell, Trendsetter, and then this is the Trendsetter Lip Contour Pencil. I don't know how great this is going to jive with my eye look. Like I kind of feel like I want to throw magenta on my lips or something, but we'll just go with it to keep with a Huda look. So I've got a little balm on my lips, and I'm going to use this Trendsetter lip liner. Dang, I tried applying this the other day over my dry lips and it was not so easy, so definitely a little balm can help. And then I think I'm going to use Bombshell. These are frosted tubes, but it seems to be a little more pinky than the other, and so we'll just kind of lightly apply this liquid lipstick. These liquid lip colors are really thin, and I feel like you'll still notice a little tackiness from them. Like there is a dry down, but they don't get like chalky. Tell me what you think, but I'm kind of feeling like this nude lip sort of works with, in conjunction with the really bright eye. But my takeaway from these lip products, like if it's a color you love, go for it. But I don't find these to be something next level, like super duper different, you know, from a lot of other liquid lipsticks. I feel like I've worn this exact shade from Milani, for example. But what do we think of our finished look? I feel so glam and fun, and I'm really glad I went with an all matte look because it's fun to, I don't know, sort of use the matte texture and know that you're generating really the same amount of impact, if not more, than when you use the shimmers. Like everything just seems super smooth, and I'm really happy with the way the eyes came together. That being said, I don't think these eye palettes are for everybody. Like I explained, if you want a really well-rounded palette, like light to dark range, something that offers the really deep contrast in there, you're gonna wanna look to maybe her other selection of Obsessions palettes, which are just this size, but the packaging's not quite as fun. But there are a lot more neutrals and still even some colorful ones in that range. But as far as the neons go, I find the orange palette, just comparing orange and pink, the orange is more versatile. I think it's got just a little more color range happening, and I can't complain about this look. Like, this is fun. Some people are gonna be all about it, some people not. I get that. But tip-top products from this video, like, I'm loving the foundation, I'm loving the concealer. These shades were on point for me, and I think that matters. I was really going for a brightened up under eye, and I think it's gorgeous. Again, it's the custard foundation and the meringue concealer, a great pair for me. I think the setting powder is less important, like this specific setting powder, you know what I'm saying? I think I could have gotten away setting this situation with Laura Mercier or Maybelline Fit Me or, you know, any number of different ones. I don't know that this is so special, and perhaps, you know, as I continue to use this concealer, I will try baking it with some different types of powder, and maybe I won't feel quite so dry by day's end, you know, maybe this is a culprit. But I've used a lot of powders, you know, and I just don't feel like this is the total game changer of the look. But I do really like the cream contour. I like the tone of it. I like the effect I get on my skin. It is so easy to blend. You get the pigment, but you're not contributing to like the powdery look on the skin. And then as far as color products like on the cheeks, that was all Beauty Bakery today. So you know how I feel about that stuff. I love it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for your time today. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's always fun to kind of investigate a brand that has gone under your personal radar a little bit and also kind of challenge myself with a neon eye. So thanks again, everybody. I will see you again very soon. Bye. Hey everybody, I thought I would throw in a staying power check-in. I completely forgot about this all day, but here we are now. I feel like my skin is very even, very not oily, nothing broken down. 14 hours after application, and the eyes are not showing a sign of stopping. I even still have some shimmer on that lower lash line, which how it's still there, I'm not sure. I can see remnants of the lip liner. What did I do? When I went to lunch with Mary Ellen, I just had the lipstick on and I decided to put like some Milani Keep It Full gloss on top. I just wanted a little more moisture. But other than that, this face is completely untouched and I'm really happy with the results. So just thought I'd share. Bub's 14-hour staying power check-in. He's still here. You look awesome, Bub. What did you do to yourself this morning?
I bathed.
Yeah?
That's about it.
You did your hair.
My hair. Old Spice,
Old
spiffy.
Spice Spiffy pomade. Cupcake, she grooms herself. No additional product. Cool. Thanks.
Hey, it was nice talking to you.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed the clip of the Chach.
You're gonna get Emily's, baby.
Best dining experience ever. Dude was electric.
We were chachified and
Chachified,
now they're all
Emilyzed.
Emilyzed, bubbified.